Good morning. Good morning, Saints. I'm glad to see the whole school here again and parents here again for our Friday chapel. And we get to do something special today. It's our first week with a memory verse. And so for those of you who are new students, we spent this week in homeroom and in your classes focused on a pretty long verse, a beautiful one that's more complex and worthy of your attention. And I hope that you've thought about it this week. You've heard about it in the message that Mr. Simpson gave when we stayed behind as lower school, middle school, upper school, talking about how this speaks something special about who Jesus is. And now it's an opportunity to show that learning and also something new this year to earn some house points. So the class that is able in this context in front of all of us to successfully recite the memory verse will earn some house points. And to make it fair, I chose randomly with a little number generator. We'll choose someone different every week, so everyone potentially will get a turn. But for this week, the grade that gets to demonstrate their learning is third grade. So, third grade, why don't you all now? It's very exciting, but let's try. We're still in the church. Let's try to give with some dignity. Stand up, all third grade. Stand up now. Clear your mind and get ready to recite. I'll say the first two words, and then you continue and say the whole thing as clearly as you can so that everyone can hear you. Are you ready? The Word That was extraordinarily well done. That's a complex one, and you said it perfectly, so congratulations. Y'all will receive those house points. I just want to share something brief as we're gathered again about core values, because I think you probably heard in Mr. Simpson's talk, he mentioned something about core values in addition to that verse. Every great business, and yes, every great school has something called core values. What are they? Well, they're the guiding principles that tell the world who we are and what we stand for. So, think in your mind's eye, if you walk down the street and you go to Chick-fil-A and you talk to some of the employees at Chick-fil-A, you'll discover that Chick-fil-A has its own core values. And you can actually, if you pay attention when you go to Chick-fil-A, they care about their core values so much that you can see those core values in how employees dress, in the way that they speak, and in the way that they serve. Their actions as members of the Chick-fil-A family reflect the core values of that company. And at STE, we also have core values, but ours aren't about customer service. They're about you, the students, who you are as students and as future leaders in the world. So in case you didn't know, at STE we have 6 core values. They've actually been a part of this school for a very long time. And so if you look carefully in most classrooms, they're on the classroom walls. They're in our publications. If you look on the website, they're listed on the website. But here's the question for all of you. Do you know them? Have you talked about those 6 core values? And most importantly, what I want to ask you to think about, do you live and act as a student here according to those 6 core values? Here they are. I'm just going to list them quickly. Honor, Christian faith, love, discipline, excellence, and respect. I read those quickly, and I'm not really going to talk about all of them, but this year, One thing we're going to do very intentionally, different from the past, is we are going to slow down every week, every month, and focus on one of those core values, one at a time. So we'll talk about how we, as a school, can actually live according to these 6 values. And your insights, I'm speaking to you students, your suggestions, your actions as students are actually the most essential thing to making those core values real. So they aren't just words on a wall. They become habits of the heart and the mind. So they should, those core values, show up in how you treat one another, how you treat your fellow classmates, how you treat your teachers. They should show up in how you study and do projects and take tests. They should show up in how you play sports as an STE saint. They should show up in how you conduct yourself here when we're assembled in this sacred space in church. And especially, I would like to point out and hope to encourage you to think, how can you live according to those core values when you carry yourself even in the hallways and in the classrooms? So, throughout this year, you'll hear more, yes, but you'll especially be encouraged to do more about these 6 core values. We'll talk about them in chapel. Mr. Simpson will talk about them. I'll talk about them on Fridays. But also, I hope you talk about them in homerooms and in your classroom. And here's an important point also, in our new house system, we're also going to do things as house challenges and events and opportunities for earning points when you demonstrate that you're living according to them. We're going to recognize and reward that. So this year, think about those core values: honor, Christian faith, love, discipline, excellence, and respect. And let's build a school community that actually is honorable, that is loving, and that is respectful. A community, those were 3 of them, did you catch that? They're honorable, loving, and respectful, and also marked by discipline, rooted in faith, and striving for excellence. Then, if we can do that together, we truly be STE saints. Thank you for doing that, and I want to thank all of you, especially for the progress that I've seen here in chapel time. I've seen a marked difference. I really want to congratulate the seniors for being great leaders. On Tuesdays and Thursdays next week, the choir is going to be up here, but seniors, you're setting a good example. And I especially want to thank Felicity, who was our senior reader for this entire week. She read so clearly the words of Jesus' sermons throughout these days. So it was wonderful to hear. You'll hear other seniors coming and speaking the words of Scripture to us in future weeks. 2 points of encouragement for you. Even as you've done well, I think we can do better before we start in terms of talking. So when you come in, some of you grades I saw were very silent and attentive. It's so tempting to chat. If we could be even quieter, that's the first point. And then secondly, with our kneelers, when we use them, if we can be gentle with them, so that when we're in prayer, it's as peaceful and serene and spirit-filled as possible. Thank you again. I hope you have a wonderful time upper school at the dance, and everyone has a great holiday weekend. You're dismissed.